No way he just said this. Sauce Gardner has been going off on social media discussing his play with the New York Jets after another loss to the Cardinals, and we're going to break this down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jets Digest. It's Chris and Matt here, and guys, please subscribe to the channel because not much else is going on nice for us, as the Knicks are also bad. So there's not much for me right now in my happiness, so it's just people who subscribe to the channel. But Matt, Sauce Gardner has spoken out, and we're not going to dance around it. He deleted a tweet, as Rich Cimini mentioned, that the entire Jets defense last night missed 20 tackles, and Sauce Gardner had what was known as the costliest missed tackle. Also, Aaron Rodgers didn't play well. No one on the Jets played well, but Sauce Gardner was not a fan of this at all, saying, yep, I'm 100% sure me missing that tackle at the beginning of the second quarter for a gain of 17 yards was the costliest miss, and that, in fact, is what lost us the game. Now, obviously, that's not what Rich Cimini said, but Sauce Gardner did not take kindly to it. He actually then tweeted out later, but it was deleted before I could get a screenshot of it, that he essentially mentioned kind of taking the statement back a little bit by saying, like, look, I understand, like, what happened is I was mad at the situation, and I was mad that we lost. I don't want us to lose games, but I really don't think that I should be the one taking all the punishment because I allowed 2 receptions and 19 total yards. Do I wish I could have those 19 yards back? Of course I do. I want to win, but it's not all on me. Is essentially, that's not verbatim what he said, but that was essentially that's essentially what he said. And look, I mean, Sauce Gardner over the last 2 seasons before this was objectively the best player on the New York Jets, and this season he's objectively not. I mean, he looks worse for some reason. It seemingly is no reason why outside of the fact that he's just been on the Jets for 3 years, and the Jets are such a depressing dumpster fire that basically everyone outside of Garrett Wilson and CJ Mosley just decide, you know what, screw it. As long as I'm here, I'm never going to win, but maybe they'll pay me something to, I guess, lose a bunch of games for the rest of my career, since the Jets are clearly a cursed franchise, and I'm just going to keep praying that Mets owner Steve Cohen buys them.
Yeah, so this this quote from Sauce Gardner just shows the fact that there is no leadership. If Sauce Gardner was shown how to be a winner and how to take accountability for the mistakes you make, he would have never sent out a tweet like this. Is he correct when he says that's not the only reason we lost the game? Obviously, but coming into the New York Jets a couple of years ago, he's been shown that this is the way to handle this. He has not been shown the correct way to handle a mistake like this. And the media, the media coming after him like this, he's been really, really good. So a lot of people on social media have not lashed out against him, which a lot of people in New York, they do it. New York, one of the biggest media places for sports. The players, when you're on top, they love you. When you're not playing very well, they hate you. And Sauce Gardner has not played very well so far this year. We all saw the play. Trey McBride breaks the tackle of Sauce Gardner, could have stopped the first down, and then Trey McBride hurdled another Jet player and just continued to embarrass the team as the Cardinals did all Sunday. Sauce Gardner saying this, it's just not what you want to see. Even though he's not right, he's not wrong, and it doesn't hurt the franchise. It just doesn't send the right message to anybody. You see, I always talk about it when I'm talking about leaders. I always talk about Josh Allen because he seems to go out of his way to take blame and put it directly on himself. Even when it's not his fault, he goes, "Oh, that's my fault. I'll fix that." Last night we saw CJ Stroud. The defense intercepted the Lions 5 times, and he still was not able to put up enough offense to win the game for the Texans. He came out, he said, I lead the offense. We have to be better than that. We have to win this game. That is leadership. Sauce Gardner is one of the best players on the Jets. He's definitely having a bad year this year, but he's still a leader on the Jets. He has to be a figure for the other guys in the locker room. He has to be able to take more accountability. We've said all year, no one has really been taking accountability properly in the locker room, and this is just another example of that. That comes from not having a head coach, because why would you take accountability when it's clear that everyone on the team is out for themselves? There is no team. It's just ESPN is calling them like hired mercenaries, and that's a pretty good term for it because they're really talented players, but they're not cohesive at all. They don't play for each other. They just play to they try to get their own people try to get their own stats up, but that's not working as can be told by the final scores. This was the third blowout this year. I don't even know how that's possible. The 49ers, the Cardinals, and the Steelers all don't have better rosters than the Jets. So how are they blowing the Jets out? It's one thing to get unlucky like that Steelers game, but the Cardinals game, they started the game with a touchdown, a field goal, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. That can't ever happen against a defense. Yes, they're missing their number one tackler, CJ Mosley. But other than that, guys need to step up and tackle better. We've said it so many times over and over again. Every single week, the tackling isn't good enough. Starting with that San Francisco 49ers game in week 1, the tackling has never been good enough. Sauce Gardner's tackling should not have this magnifying glass on it because the front 7 needs to tackle better. The guys should not be making it to Sauce Gardner. The Trey McBride play, yes, Sauce Gardner needs to make that tackle. We could have Hall of Famers at all 7 positions, perfect tackling machines, and Sauce Gardner still would have had to make that specific tackle. And he needs to get better at that. But he's been so good in coverage that I always say Darrelle Revis was a terrible tackler too. Sauce Gardner, he can be a bad tackler and still be a good corner. If he's a lockdown corner, no one's going to care about the tackling. He is going to come back to where he was as a corner, as a cover corner, a guy. He's going to get back to locking guys down because he did it for 2 years in the league. What has changed is the NFL has clearly made it a point to focus in on Sauce Gardner, to call more DPI on him specifically because he has gotten away with some stuff. The first 2 years, there have been some plays where he's gotten really handsy with wide receivers, and the NFL, the guys didn't call it. He was a super physical corner at Cincinnati in college, but in college, the rules are more laid back. You're allowed to rough up the wide receivers a little bit more than you are in the NFL. So he didn't really make an adjustment in the NFL, and the NFL let him get away with it. They've clearly made it a point that he is not going to get away with that anymore. So he has to now adjust. But right now, the coaching staff is not in position to help anyone on the Jets get better. So I can't understand how Sauce Gardner would get better as a player.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's great. From the first game he ever played with the Jets, he was great. It didn't take long to realize he was the best player on the team. The problem is he hasn't been this season. And there's no rhyme or reason to why the man would have gotten worse. It's just, I genuinely think part of the problem, because, I mean, look at it. Let's be real. You look at guys who show up to the New York Jets, Tyron Smith. Wake up and forget how to play the damn sport. Like what is this, dude? Like, everyone who plays for the Jets, at some point, I don't mean they get washed up, and I get Smith is old, so maybe not the perfect example. Tremaine Johnson, we could go with. There's so many examples of, oh, I'm a Jet. I'll be this guy who will help turn the ship around. Here we go. I can't wait. Wakes up for the season. I suck at football. That is what happens. It happens so often. It's happened under Saleh. It's happened under Ulbrich. How that's possible is beyond me. He's been the coach for a few weeks. Happened under everyone since Woody Johnson bought this team. I don't know if what happens is Woody Johnson hires some hypnotist to trick someone into sucking because he finds it funny to own the worst team in American sports. But somehow, Woody Johnson owns the worst team in American sports. The Jets suck. They're awful. They're not getting better anytime soon. For some reason, Sauce Gardner's taking advice from Aaron Rodgers, who's known for the second that he gets off the football field, becomes a buffoon. Like, the man is complaining to the media, refuses to develop quarterbacks and be a mentor. Why?
Yeah.
I don't... Why?
In Green Bay, he made it clear that he did not like Jordan Love. He had no interest in developing Jordan Love. Then New York, over the summer, it seems like him and Zach Wilson are all buddy-buddy. Then he gets injured, and it comes out a couple months later that Zach Wilson felt like Aaron Rodgers was not as available to him as he could have been or should have been. So Aaron Rodgers was definitely not been the leader that we were hoping he would be and who your quarterback has to be to have a successful NFL team. But we got to live with that now. But we've been talking about how every single game, it seems like he gives us, after we lose, it seems like he just gives us a movie quote, and it's really annoying. when we call him out for that, I have to give him some props. After this game, he just said there's a lot of emotions. And when someone asked him to go farther into it, he said, I'm not going farther into it. And honestly, I thought it was refreshing that he finally just let it show that he was actually mad about what's going on instead of just hitting us with a quote that's supposed to be like super deep and we're supposed to think about it and it's all going to be okay. Like he's finally showing us that he's realizing, no, this is not okay. Nothing about what's going on is okay. The Jets, I would say they have to get better, but I don't see where the changes would even be coming from. I don't understand how this team is supposed to get better, seeing how every single week they trade for all the players that Aaron Rodgers wanted. They made the moves that he wanted. They picked up Nathaniel Hackett like he requested, and they have possibly the worst offensive coaching staff in the entire NFL. The defense left out the window with Saleh because our defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich, has to take on all the responsibilities of being a head coach on top of a job that he is not cut out to be right now at this point of his coaching career. He's not ready to be a head coach and a defensive coordinator at the same time. Maybe something would be different if he could have another coach helping him out more with the defense, because right now it clearly looks like he needs more help with the defense. It's really frustrating. Also, Chris, Sauce Gardner can't tackle Trey McBride. So, I mean, we got some fast linebackers. We don't have a guy that can run with Trey McBride. I don't know. Maybe he's a really good tight end. So maybe we don't have a guy who can run with him, but it's definitely frustrating to see. Usually you don't put a corner on a tight end like that, but Jeff Ulbrich has made a lot of questionable defensive decisions, starting with looking at Pittsburgh, where Pickens is not on Sauce Gardner for some reason. Pickens is a 6 foot plus wide receiver with long arms. Sauce Gardner is a 6 foot plus corner with long arms. Don't they seem like a solid stylistic matchup for each other? I don't know. The defense doesn't look good enough. The offense, 6 points. Again, they just don't do anything. They have Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers. Solid offensive line. It's not good, but it's solid. Looks like Olu Fashanu is potentially sliding in at left tackle for the next couple weeks. We're going to see how that looks, but it's definitely frustrating because all these years as a Jets fan, we're like, oh, we just need this, then it'll be okay. We just need that. We just need a quarterback. We finally have all the things this year. And not only are they not good, they're not even bad. They are objectively terrible. They're one of the worst teams in the NFL, and they're closer to a top 5 pick than they are to the playoffs. Not even the Super Bowl, the playoffs.
I don't know. It's the most hopeless they've ever been. There's nothing to say about that. Clearly, Zach Wilson was doomed from the beginning. Obviously, man's not that great, but he was doomed. Anyone who gets drafted here, I'm sorry that happened to you. I really do feel for you that you have to play for the New York Jets. I honestly wouldn't wish that on anyone who has like dreams of being a great NFL player, because frankly, Sauce Gardner, I don't even care that he's pissed. He should be pissed. He's on the Jets. That sucks for him. He's not from New York. There's no reason to root for the Jets if you're Sauce Gardner. There's no reason to care about the Jets before you get drafted there. The only reason he has to care about them is because they're his employer. And he does care. He wants to win, but at the same time, he knows he's not gonna. He's just waiting until he can finally request a trade and get out of here, which is honestly exactly what Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson, Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, basically Olu Fashanu, basically everyone who's young on the Jets or anyone who ever wants a chance at winning should request a trade right now. Nothing else makes sense. Hire a hitman on Woody Johnson.
Yeah, these guys have no idea what they're talking. The Jets ownership has no idea what's going on. We like a lot of picks by Joe Douglas, but he's not going to make it through this. He might not make it through the end of the year. So it's going to be a complete rebuild again. And
who cares?
If you're going to build a team, you'd want to make it look like this. So I could not tell you what it needs to look like because yeah.
Who knows, dude? Whatever happens, you'll have a consistency in your life. The Jets will find new ways to disappoint you. The King of Staten Island was right. The Jets are coming back. No, they're never coming back. Jets aren't coming back. Like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. We can still, despite the fact the Jets suck, we're still going to have fun on this channel. We're still going to have a great time talking. Let us know what you think down below. Go Jets.